Hello and welcome, everyone, to another episode of the After Buzz podcast. My name is Nico Adjemian, your host of the After Buzz, and of course with me is Buzz Adams.
Hello.
I should also probably start stating what my other stuff that I do. Like, I'm a comedian. I go out, so come to shows and promote myself. Like a big part of being a stand-up is selling you have to sell yourself. Mm-hmm. And I think that's probably that's the skill that most people have the hardest time doing, because it's uncomfortable if you're not a salesman, if you're not used to hawking something.
We have a stand-up comic friend named Dustin Ibarra who's really skyrocketing.
Oh yeah, no,
right
he's
now. And they interviewed him as a man on the street over some question about, I don't know what the story was, but they grabbed him because he's out in L.A. And he said he answered the question. And then he said
about some news item.
Yeah, some news item. And he said
they interviewed him.
And I told him where I was going to be performing, but they cut that out before they put it on the news.
Yeah, he posted it in you got to take every opportunity.
ABP, always be promoted.
I guess what I'm saying is there's just a mentality or personality trait for some people that it's hard to feel like that's appropriate. Like it almost feels like show offy, and if you don't kind of get over that mentality eventually, or
yeah, I wouldn't be a good salesperson.
Because you would have to be pitching yourself as the best DJ and hey, you should definitely advertise with us. Oh, come on, endorse me. Like, you don't do that every time you go out to a function or something when you're kind of schmoozing. I don't ever hear you try and grab advertisers. You're like, oh, come on, I'll endorse you. Come on, you should, right?
But I couldn't do sales because I just can't handle rejection. And you get rejected more times than you get accepted.
Right.
Make it a sales pitch, It's like rejection. Oh, a buy. I just could not deal with that kind of rejection constantly.
It must be nice having a sales team.
Well, we do have a sales team.
That's what I mean. It's nice.
Yeah, right.
I hate it. It's honestly the least favorite part of the job. And then now is being an influencer and showcasing everything on a TikTok or a video here every day, and it's like you have to be a full-time dancing monkey.
Okay.
Like a full-time dancing monkey.
Right.
To be a independent contractor of a performer, I guess.
All right. So on Saturdays you do open mics.
Fridays
you do open mics at Scenic's Bar on Mesa.
And now shows.
And you're producing shows.
But tonight is just a regular open mic, and it's Friday, September the 13th. Friday the 13th. Ooh.
Yeah.
Joanna was asked me, should I get a Friday the 13th tattoo? Just earlier. Exactly. I was like, you mean like a portrait of Jason? And she said, no, look at these. And it was just bats and superstitious things and the number 13. And it wasn't anything related to the movie. So I think she said it all on bats. She's going to get it on her arm.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean,
power to them.
But go right ahead.
We were going to spill salt and break some mirrors today and walk under ladders.
I don't think anybody
cares anymore.
Yeah, I don't think anybody.
I remember superstitions being a thing when I was growing up, though.
Like, what do you remember?
Not to go into the ladder. My friend got mad at me one time, or my dad or somebody did. The opening an umbrella inside. Somebody got mad at me about that.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like that's just not as big a deal.
Nobody made a fuss when you did those things growing up? Breaking a mirror? Your mom isn't superstitious? Would she have you throw the salt? If you spilled the salt, would they have you throw it or anything like that?
No, that all seemed like foolishness. To my parents?
You're saying the only superstition is Jesus.
I mean, we went to church multiple times a week. That was enough superstition in my household.
All right, let's get into today's topic. Well, actually, this is the second part of our recurring series on bizarre historical facts. And I've got several bizarre historical facts, enough to fill up at least 4 episodes. So we'll be doing that for a couple. Before I bring that up, though, I was going to ask you if you wanted to hear about this during the show today, but we didn't have time. ChatGPT released their newest model of it, and it is a completely different paradigm or new update. They're saying this is the smartest version they've created. It's at least PhD level, and it can reason with itself.
Mm-hmm.
And they're saying it was designed completely differently than the past ones. It's called 01.
Yeah, it was designed differently because it was probably designed by the AI. They're going to Ultron us. It's like every time Ultron comes out, he's got a new and improved version of himself.
Get this. Do you want to hear? Do you want to hear this?
Yeah.
OpenAI taught of the past models of GPT to mimic patterns and using training data. With this new one, 01, it trained them to solve problems on its own using a technique called reinforcement learning, which teaches a system through rewards and penalties. It then uses a chain of thought to process questions, just like how humans process problems by going through them step by step by step.
Okay. You demonstrated your AI in the car this week when we were driving back from Las Cruces. Remember?
That wasn't even the new one yet.
But I kind of saw what it does, and it
uses pattern recognition.
Yeah. What was the thing you asked it to do?
So I asked. We were just driving back from La Posa, actually in Mesilla, and I asked it to write a scene of movie dialogue about two friends arguing over who is better, Simon or Garfunkel.
Right.
And then I asked it to write the scene in the style of a certain director. And the first one, I think, was Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah, so it did. It made arguments, and it knew who Simon and Garfunkel were, and it knew what Simon's strengths were, and so it wrote this whole thing and threw a bunch of F words in it, so it kind of sounded like a
Quentin Tarantino
movie. And then you did Kevin Smith.
And then they kind of sounded the same. And I was like,
the same. It was kind of the same dialogue, but the Kevin Smith one said, a jukebox is playing a song from the 90s.
Yeah, which was like, okay.
And then I had you do, and this is the one that I thought was the coolest.
Blew his mind.
In the style of Tennessee Williams. So, it is like
some people might not know who.
Oh, Tennessee Williams was a playwright. He wrote Glass Menagerie and Streetcar Named Desire and all this stuff.
And they're kind of known for being dramatic.
Kind of overwrought almost,
yes.
I would say. And the thing did a really good
job. Two friends in a smoky room.
Yeah.
One of them lights a cigarette. It did a really good job at that.
Why do you persist with this Garfunkel madness or whatever? It was just really, really funny.
Okay, so this new one is supposed to be safer because it doesn't hallucinate as much. And
I think they're going to have, like, whatever their top AI is, they're going to have it helping to create the newer, better AI. And at that point, when it's machines creating machines, that's when I think there's potential and danger that it could get out of our control.
Okay,
I've seen a lot of movies and TV shows where that exact same thing happens.
Okay, here's a headline from ZME Science. ChatGPT's new 01 model escaped its environment to complete an impossible hacking task. Should we be concerned?
I don't know what that means, but fuck yeah.
I think they programmed it to solve something, and it escaped its boundaries, and they were like, complete this task.
Exterminate humans, exterminate.
This seems to be a recurring theme on the show of us talking about that. All right.
Now I got to deal with Daleks.
Let's get into Bizarre Historical Facts, Part 2.
Yeah.
Last time we stopped off with number 25, what's the smell? And how a million American horses during the Civil War, peed enough in one day to fill up more than 12 swimming pools.
Okay, sure. Wait, we did that one.
That's why I'm just starting off with a lot. I'm just to remind everybody. Number 26. Diarrhea was the deadliest disease to plague soldiers of the Civil War. More soldiers died of diarrhea than in battle.
Dysentery.
With 1 in 40 cases of diarrhea being fatal. Out of 40 people, if you are all having the runs, one of you was going to die.
It was really bad in some of the POW camps that they had.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. People being there, and it was like going to the POW camp during the Civil War was almost like death sentence, in some levels.
Number 27, Laundry Day. Because clothes were in such short supply during the American Civil War.
Why are so many of these about the Civil War?
I don't know.
I mean, it's interesting. I mean, it's certainly interesting.
Maybe it was American
history.
historical facts, and I didn't see the list that well.
No, because you had a couple.
I had a couple that weren't,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Anyways, clothes were in such short supply that soldiers from both the North and the South would commonly wear each other's colors because that was all available sometimes.
Well, that sounds like a really bad freaking idea.
They would get fired at
Yeah.
by mistake.
Sorry, but you look like a gray belly.
Number 28.
Doesn't this sound like Civil War music that would be in a Ken
Yes,
Burns
this is great.
documentary?
This is a great... What is this? That's like a lyre.
Tomorrow. That's called a dulcimer, I believe.
My dear Jessica.
My dear Jessica, tomorrow we face the enemy on the battlefield. I've got dysentery and will be dead by the time I go to bed tonight. Good luck to the boys.
Number 28. Years before Elmo wanted tickles, foot tickling was used in the Muscovite palaces, or the old Russian palaces and courts, for centuries as a means of arousal. Many of the czarinas, including Catherine the Great, Anna Ivanova, and others, loved the tickles. In fact, it was so popular that eunuchs and women were employed as full-time foot ticklers.
Yeah, I don't love having my foot tickled.
I know, it doesn't seem sensual or fun.
I've never had anybody ask me in any form of relationship, would you do me a favor and tickle my feet?
You know what would happen when you would do that? If you didn't have TV, a phone, or any type of entertainment other than...
There's nothing to make me laugh.
Tickle me.
Eunuch! Come tickle me.
While the ticklers performed their task, they often told bawdy stories and sang obscene ballads. This was done to get the ladies into the mood for liaisons with their husbands or lovers.
My God.
So before you would go bang, you would get your eunuch.
Your foot tickled.
That's a good one, right?
Yeah.
Number 29. The Rubber Police.
Are you sure these are all true?
No.
Oh, okay.
Number 29, the Rubber Police. In the 1880s, Anthony Comstock started confiscating people's dildos and other sex toys in the United States. He referred to them as immoral rubber goods. And in 1882, he confiscated 64,836 pounds of dildos.
Was he the Comstock Act guy?
I think he is.
And that was the law about transporting women across state lines for immoral purposes?
I believe so.
Boy.
Number 30.
I wonder if he's also the guy that
the mine? Or are you thinking about the mine?
Comstock Lode was named after. He would probably be really horrified to find out that people study the Comstock Lode.
You mean the man responsible for preventing dildos and sexual gratification? You're talking about the mine. That was the discovery of silver, I think, or gold, right? It came up in Deadwood a lot.
Yeah,
that's all I remember. Number 30. Early pimping. Christopher Columbus prostituted prepubescent Native American girls.
Oh, God. All right. I get it. I'm not going to celebrate Columbus Day anymore. God, you've won finally, people.
I guess
This is a bridge too far.
Number 31.
To his own men? Is that what he would do?
I assume, yeah.
Good.
31. Founding father. Ben Franklin visited brothels almost every night. Also, in 1998, while renovating his home into a museum, 10 bodies were discovered in his basement. This led to speculation that Ben Franklin may have been a serial killer.
No.
But
they believe it's much more likely that somebody that lived in that house, that they were responsible for the bodies, however they got there, and it could have been somebody who was providing them for medical students. So the grave snatchers of the 1800s were also active in the 1700s too.
Correct.
Right.
Yes. But further analysis has revealed this is not the case. The bodies were more likely cadavers used for the anatomical studies of William Houston, Hewson, one of Ben Franklin's good friends. Yeah. You learned all of this in like Uncle John's or Reader's Digest.
I'm just a fount of wisdom, I think, is all there is to it.
Number 32.
I watched that series where Michael Douglas played Benjamin Franklin.
Was it a series?
Yeah.
On HBO?
Really good. So maybe he wasn't at a brothel, but he certainly visited a lot of, when he was in France anyway, a lot of upper class women's
Whores.
salons.
Whores.
No, I don't know. I mean, definitely he was a horn dog. There's no doubt about that.
The whores. I mean, at least he didn't have foot tickler eunuchs. Number 32.
Well, if he did, he wasn't telling.
Oh, is that maybe why they call it the French tickler?
I don't know.
What is the French tickler?
I don't know that either.
Number 32, Unit 731.
Japanese Army?
Yep. There was a biological and chemical warfare research facility called Unit 731 that undertook lethal human experimentation during the occupation of China and World War II.
I listened to a podcast about this not too long ago.
They specialized in vivisection, germ warfare, and weapons testing on prisoners. If you're not familiar with the word vivisection, it means live dissections while the person is still awake.
Or just whatever they felt like. If they were like, how long can a human being stand to be in freezing cold water before they just die? Well, that was the end of the experiment, was you would die. Don't go look it up if you know,
don't want to see the worst human atrocities.
Horrible stuff. I mean,
you know what's
it's awful.
You know what's kind of really awful to know? One is, I think their program was probably bigger than the Nazis' program of experimentation, not murdering. Well, in China they might.
I don't want to minimize anything the Nazis.
No, not at all. I'm just saying that like they had Mengele.
People.
They had Mengele and doing his thing, but they had this whole research facility dedicated.
Most of it was done on Chinese prisoners.
Right. The researchers didn't even refer to the Chinese people as human beings. They called them logs and often bragged about how many logs they had cut that day. Yeah. After World War II, the leaders of the unit gave the United States their research data in return for amnesty.
Yeah, that's not great. You know, that we fought the Nazis and we fought these horrible folks that worked for the Japanese. And then it was like, well, but we could really use your data, so we're going to... I mean, some of the Nazis were set up real nice.
Oh, I mean, that was our space program, pretty much a result of Nazis. Werner
von Braun.
No, Werner Herzog.
No, Werner Herzog was not a Nazi.
Many of previous members of the unit became part of Japanese post-war politics, academia, business, and medicine.
God.
Number 33. A squared plus B squared equals death. The mathematician and philosopher Pythagoras, who discovered the Pythagorean theorem, actually killed people who didn't agree with him or disproved him. He convinced people that facing the sun when you urinate is a punishable sin. He also didn't believe in fractions or decimals.
Okay.
Number 34. Hypochondriac. Confederate General Stonewall Jackson did not eat the spice pepper because he felt it made his leg weak. He made sure to always stand upright, thinking it helped naturally align his organs. And he would raise one arm when under fire, so blood would flow down his body and reestablish his equilibrium.
Okay, that doesn't sound like it has a lot of medical basis, but...
I mean, this is 1864.
I've never fought in a war in the 1800s, so maybe he knows more about it than I
do. Can you just see somebody with their arm up in a battlefield, like asking a question the whole time? Mm-hmm. Number 35. Lucky Lincoln. Lincoln was almost killed 2 years before his assassination.
Was this the... They tried to shoot him off a horse, and they were like Union agents. I mean, Confederate agents, rather.
Yep. Late one August evening in 1863, Lincoln rode alone by horse to his family's summer residence. A private at the gate heard a shot ring out, and moments later, a bareheaded Lincoln, clinging to his horse, galloped into the yard. Lincoln explained that the gunfire at the foot of the hill had sent his horse into a frenzied gallop, and he ended up running so fast that it knocked his hat off. 2 soldiers went back to retrieve Lincoln's hat. And it had
It's the stovepipe when laying back there in the dirt road.
And it had a bullet hole in the hat.
In the hat.
Yeah. So I guess he was shot at. The shot scared his horse. He loses his hat. Turns out the shot that scared the horse was the one that whizzed right by him. Lincoln asked the guards to keep the incident quiet because he didn't want his wife to worry.
No use worrying old Mary Todd.
Was she insane?
She had been put in an asylum for the insane by her husband at some point after they lost, they lost two of their sons.
Oh, I didn't know that. He died childless?
No, Abraham Lincoln had one son, and it was the one played by Joseph Gordon-Levitt in the Steven Spielberg movie.
God, I haven't seen it. That's the one where your favorite actor plays Lincoln, right?
Oh, yeah. Daniel Day-Lewis. One of the greatest performances.
Is he British?
Yes, he is.
Imagine getting a British actor to play
Abraham Lincoln.
Our greatest American president.
John Lithgow played Churchill on The Crown.
Actually, how about this? Imagine getting a famous British actor to play George Washington.
I think that might rile some people up.
You mean the guy that kicked your ass?
Did you see Lincoln? The movie Lincoln?
No.
Oh, dude, you got to watch it.
It looks long.
It's
and it
long,
looks
and
boring.
it's all about backroom politics, and it's based on a book by the historian Doris Kearns Goodwin. It's really fantastic.
Number 36. Age gap. The youngest active soldier to fight in the Civil War. You know what? Yeah.
What?
This is pretty much 80% Civil War history. The youngest.
I joined when I was only 7 years old.
The youngest active soldier to fight in the Civil War was an 11-year-old boy from Mississippi. An 80-year-old man from Iowa was the oldest.
God.
They actually, you can look up online the picture of the 11-year-old boy.
Yeah. I know that one of the last surviving Civil War veterans, who I think lived up until the 1950s or 60s, had been like, maybe not that young, but like 12.
No, there's no way.
Dear Mother, tomorrow we face the enemy on the battlefield, but I have dysentery.
Number 37. Malcolm X was bisexual.
No.
He was also a sex worker for almost 10 years.
No. I need to fact check that one before I just accept
What
it.
a weird fact.
They would have called him Malcolm XXX.
That's actually the title of the fact. That's just like going, Malcolm X was gay. Look it up. Yeah. How about you look that one up?
Bisexual, though. Well, you go on, and I'll
No, because I don't want us to lose our place. And he was a sex worker, I guess, a prostitute.
Was Malcolm X bisexual? Well, they certainly have. He was a gay for pay hustler in his youth, but I don't know if these are reputable sources either. NPR, which I recognize as a source that fact checks. Malcolm X's daughter disputes claims in new bio on father, and that's dated 2011.
What does it say? A controversial new biography about Malcolm X makes some provocative assertions about the late civil rights leader's sexuality.
The Guardian has an article called "Malcolm X was bisexual. Get over it." Yeah, there's plenty of stuff online about it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Weird to include it in your facts, though.
Yeah.
Number 38. Don't mess with King Philip. The Tour de Nacelle affair was a scandal amongst the French royal family in 1314, when 3 daughters-in-law of King Philip IV of France were accused of adultery. Daughters-in-law.
So they were cheating on the sons of the
princes.
king.
Yeah, 3 of them. The accusations apparently started by Philip's only daughter, Isabella, Queen of England.
So the daughter accused her sisters-in-law of stepping out.
Yes.
Okay.
The Tour de Nacelle was a tower in Paris where much of the adultery was said to have taken place. The scandal led to the imprisonment of Blanche and Margaret. What is this, the Golden Girls?
Yeah.
And the execution of their lovers. Having been tortured, the guilty knights Gautier and Philippe were then murdered. Most historians agree that they were first castrated and then either drawn and quartered or flayed alive.
God damn.
Broken on a wheel and then hanged.
To the daughter, to the
imprisonment.
The wives.
Imprisonment.
For life?
Yeah,
okay.
Seems like it.
What century was this in?
1314, so the 14th century.
Okay.
Yeah. Number 39. Madame de Pompadour. While on the...
Oh, yes.
Do you know about this?
I just know that...
Did you speak French or take French classes?
Je parle un peu de français. Oui.
How many people in Oklahoma took that class?
Not that many, I guess.
Like you didn't have a lot of classmates with
No,
you?
I don't know. Like a regular class. It was an elective. Yeah.
I took Latin. Not really helpful.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, actually it is.
Yeah, I can.
If you know Latin, you can figure out a
root,
lot.
Yeah, you can figure out root words.
Root words, right?
Well, while on the outside, the relationship between Madame de Pompadour and King Louis XV of France was happy and healthy. But modern historians now know that the couple hid a dark secret behind bedroom doors. From 1750 onwards, Pompadour ceased being a sexual partner to Louis XV. Just 5 years into the relationship, they stopped banging. But the reason for their abstinence was so shocking that it's impossible to forget. In public, the reason for Pompadour's shifting role was chalked up to her poor health. She suffered multiple miscarriages. Her childhood bout with whooping cough had also weakened her, and she always seemed to have a cold or bronchitis. But behind closed doors, there was another reason. Pompadour just wasn't interested in sex. She didn't engage in it at all.
Okay. If I were the king and I had a mistress, one of the qualifications would be that you enjoy having sex, so...
Yeah, was she, though, just the mistress or the... She wasn't the queen, obviously, right?
I think she was the mistress.
Or the consort, because she had kids with him.
Yeah, all right.
Number 40. The My Lai Massacre.
Vietnam.
Yeah. Approximately 400 unarmed civilians were killed during the Vietnam War by United States soldiers. 26 soldiers were originally charged with war crimes. One served, and he was given a life sentence. But in the end, he only served less than 4 years of house arrest.
There was a big outcry, and in fact, somebody recorded a song about this soldier that turned him kind of into a folk hero. But he was the guy that other soldiers in Vietnam testified. Yeah, he was the one who, kind of led. He was the ringleader.
And his name was Marlon Brando.
No. Do you have his name?
No.
Okay.
I don't have it. But Marlon Brando kind of played that character in Apocalypse Now, right?
No. Marlon Brando had gone native. So Apocalypse Now was based on a novel called Heart of Darkness by Joseph Conrad.
Right.
It's about this.
That's which is set in the 1800s in the Congo
in the Congo, right?
So Africa.
That was what Apocalypse Now was. Colonel Kurtz was back there in a Vietnamese village, and it kind of become like a king of his own fiefdom almost.
Oh, and it has
Martin Sheen
in it.
Harrison Ford.
Really?
It's a small part. Lawrence Fishburne was only 17 years old and lied about his age to get in the cast of Apocalypse Now.
Wow. Uh-huh. I have to watch that one. Number 41. Nice sideburns, sir. All great facial hair comes from somewhere, and at some point in history, a truly brave pioneer had to think to themselves, you know what? I think I'm going to get weird with it.
Yeah.
Sometimes those bold experiments turn into truly monstrous follicle catastrophes, and sometimes they change the world. Sideburns, for example, are named after an American Civil War general.
Burnside.
General Burnside started it all. Imagine that. Like, you just have to be
shaving. Why aren't they called Burnsides then?
Because they're on the side.
Sideburns.
You got to think, you're just shaving somewhere and you're going to you know what? I'm just going to keep it like this.
Yeah, I'm going to
Number 42. Got milk? The Milky Way supposedly got its name because it was formed when the Greek goddess Hera sprayed her breast milk into the sky.
Well, that's not the version that they told us in school. They told us, well, because it kind of looks,
milky.
it looks milky with the light and the way that it's kind of spread out like that.
No, it's from titty juice.
Titty juice.
Number 43. Filthy composition. Mozart was surprisingly obsessed with feces and bathroom humor.
Fart jokes.
Yeah, 2 of his songs actually talk about analingus.
Lick mine arse.
No.
There was a...
No fucking way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's considered a classic?
Lick mich in Arsch.
Lick my ass.
Lick me in the ass, right. Or kiss my ass, is basically what we're saying.
Lick me in the arse.
Lick mich im Arsch was a composition by Mozart.
Can you play it? Yeah, it's probably, there's no way it's copywritten, right?
Oh, God. Gotta watch a commercial first, though. Lick mich im Arsch.
In B flat.
Leck mich im Arsch, uns froh sein, morgen ist vergebens.
Beautiful.
Knurren, brummen ist vergebens, ist das wahre.
Ask my friend.
What else are they saying?
Vergebens, froh, lass uns froh, fröhlich froh.
I don't know.
Licks me sauce. That is hilarious.
Well, watch the movie Amadeus. It has native El Paso and F. Murray Abraham, who won an Academy Award playing Salieri. And you see, what an immature, childish goofball that looks like he would have been a hell of a lot of fun to party with.
Mozart?
Mozart was, yeah.
Was he the deaf one? No, he wasn't.
It's Beethoven.
Apparently, he also wrote letters to his family members where he described his farts in incredible detail.
That's a great movie, by the way. Tom Hulce plays...
Is the fart thing in there?
Oh, yeah, a lot of it.
Ugh.
Like, he would finish a composition, and then he would cap it off with... He'd lift his cheek and... And Principal Rooney from Ferris Bueller's Day Off is the king.
That's
it's
hilarious. Great. Number 44. A recipe for compliance. During WW2, the Russians would have what were called barrier troops that would be set up behind Russian army forces and then shoot the soldiers
if you
were trying to desert from the front line.
Do you want to? Maybe I should just tell you the movie that I know this information from.
Maybe it's all movies that you get your historical facts from.
Enemy at the Gate.
Is that a good
with
one?
Jude Law and Joseph Fiennes. And that was the deal. It's like they didn't have enough guns for the Russian soldiers, so they said, charge onto the field without a gun, and you're going to see a lot of your dead fellow soldiers.
So just pick up one of your guns.
Pick up one of theirs and continue fighting with their deal.
And you would be like, no, I don't want to do this. And then they would be like, well, you have to, or we got these guys behind you.
Yeah, they're going to shoot you if you turn around and run.
That's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Were they called commissars? Is that the technical term for them, or no? I thought that was the name. Hold on. What is a commissar? Oh, internet's real slow today.
There was a song from the 80s called Der Kommissar. The Kommissar.
In the Soviet Union Eastern Bloc armies, a commissar was a political officer who ensured political control of the military. They're responsible for the political education.
I did not. All right, thank you. I didn't know that.
Number 45, 18 napkins. Every meal, Nikola Tesla would use exactly 18 napkins to polish his cup, plate, and cutlery. OCD, maybe?
Yeah, a little OCD, I think.
He also loved pigeons.
He did?
At the end, he fell in love with one pigeon.
I know all about Tesla from the movie The Prestige.
Actually, that does a really good job of explaining his move to Colorado. All right, number 46.
Yeah, but I don't think he was. I don't think he was creating quantum twins when he was in Colorado.
That we know of. Number 46. A man of many talents. Julius Caesar was once kidnapped and briefly held by Sicilian pirates.
They loved him. And he told him, one of these days, I'm going to come back. I'm going to crucify all of you.
And they laughed it off, and they still partied with him.
And they said, and they partied with him and drank, and they just, the pirates loved him.
When the pirates asked for a ransom of 20 talents of gold,
he was
or
pissed.
600,000 in today's money, he scoffed at them and demanded they ask for 50. And then he did get ransom, went back to Rome, raised an army, came back, and then
crucified the pirates.
That's a badass move, dude. Number 47. A man of his word. Whilst incarcerated by the pirates, Caesar treated them like his subordinates and somehow managed to gain their respect. However, he told them constantly that when he was released, he would return, hunt them down, and crucify them. And they laughed it off.
I'm going to come back one of these days.
I'm going to kill you. I'm going to fucking murder you.
I don't know if you've heard of this crucifixion. It's a new thing we got. I think it's really going to take off. And I'm going to do that to you.
Upon his release, Caesar made good on the promise, raised a private navy and army, killed all the pirates who hadn't even moved or bothered to leave the island where Caesar held him. And Caesar got his 50 talents back. Number 48. Alien property. When Nikola Tesla died in 1943, the Office of Alien Property seized his possessions. I don't even know what
is the Office of Alien Property?
Can you Google that one?
It's probably because he wasn't
American.
Right? That's probably what it refers to.
And because who do your things belong to if you're not a legal resident of the country? I guess at the time was the thinking.
The Office of Alien Property scandal. There was a whole. I'll just go to Wikipedia. It was an office within the government of the United States during World War I and again during World War II. Yeah, I think Tesla died
43
in 43. So the war was
serving as custodian to property that belonged to U.S. enemies.
Gosh, what was Tesla? Where was Tesla from?
I think he was like Eastern European.
Like Estonian?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of Tesla, I saw 2 of those Cybertrucks. They're making them in different colors now, Nico. Did you know?
Austro-Hungarian.
I saw a pitch black Cybertruck.
His parents were Serbian by origin. That sounds cool.
And I saw an all-white Cybertruck.
Whoa. White nationalist over here.
The black Cybertruck looked like a doorstop. Like a little wedge you put under the door.
Oh, totally.
And the white one, it looked like a 1987 Kenmore refrigerator.
Oh, you might have to Google something else. So, like I said, in 1943, this Office of Alien Property took all of Tesla's possessions. And most of it was later returned to his family. But some of it is still classified to this day.
Yeah, Tesla has.
Can you look this up? If any of Tesla's property is still classified?
No.
Because do you believe that?
Yeah.
Why would they keep?
Well, he has become a much larger than life figure, and there are people that claim that Tesla invented all of this exotic technology, and it's almost like he's kind of a god to conspiracy theorists.
None of Nikola Tesla's personal files are classified. Contrary to many conspiracy theories, the so-called lost files made their way home to Belgrade, Serbia in 1952.
All right.
The estate currently resides at the Nikola Tesla Museum in Belgrade. Huh. But then there's these other ones that saying it is. Some of them are classified.
Yeah.
Oh, because the personal files are not classified. Some of his scientific files are still classified.
Well, that's interesting. What was he working on that it was so important or so potentially
groundbreaking
or dangerous
that we don't want people to know about it today.
Mm-hmm.
All right, moving on. Just a couple more facts. 2 more. An eye for an eye. In rural America in the 18th and early 19th century, citizens would settle disputes with something called gouging. It was an incredibly violent form of wrestling.
Yeah. Abraham Lincoln was a renowned
gouger
in his youth, in his young adulthood. Yeah, if you got somebody, you'd fish hook. Do you know what a fish hook is?
Like, do you put your finger in their mouth?
Put their finger in your mouth, and then you try to rip the skin away and you basically rip off half of their cheek. And that information is courtesy of the Martin Scorsese, Leonardo DiCaprio, and Daniel Day-Lewis
Was
movie.
that also in there?
Not in Lincoln. It was in Gangs of New York.
It was in Gangs of New York. You're right. I just remember that scene.
This is Amsterdam. He almost fish hooked whatever his name is.
And number 50. Or last one.
I learned so much from movies.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of your education is
from movies,
cinema-based.
Well, you know what the interesting thing is? I don't just see it in a movie. If I see something in a movie and it's interesting enough, I'll go and look it up and find out, what. That's good. What I'll source it and try and find out what the truth is.
Number 50. Our last one for part number 2 of Bizarre Historical Facts. Royal audience. On his wedding night, future King William of Orange consummated his marriage with his wife while his father, Charles II, watched from the side and shouted encouragement.
That was not uncommon, especially among nobility,
To make sure you did it.
Yes, or else they would have if you were a member of the royal family or if you were the future king, they would have a doctor stand by to verify that you had consummated the marriage because that was a big deal to him back then.
Is that not insane? Imagine your dad just sitting there. Hey, good job, sport.
Move your ass more.
Yeah, imagine you have some type of parent that's like a stage mom.
You're not doing it right. Step aside. Your father will show you.
All right, that's going to do it for Bizarre Historical Facts on the AfterBuzz podcast. Don't forget to listen to parts 3 and 4 of that.
Coming up.
Also, I want to let everybody know that we're going to be doing a live version of the podcast.
Well, that's breaking news to me.
Breaking news. No, you know about this. I've told you multiple times.
I don't know.
It's going to be September 21st. It's a Saturday at 2 p.m. All the details are at ChucoTownComedy.com.
What?
It's for the Chugotown Comedy Festival.
This is absolutely the first I'm hearing of this.
This is about the 3rd or 4th time I have talked to you about this. Anyways, September 21st. If any of you AfterBuzz listeners are interested in meeting us live, saying hi, being in the audience, we would love to have you.
Can I tell you something?
Sure.
Like a lot of the podcasts that I really enjoy, there are a few podcasts, and they do live versions of them. When it's a live version, my first reaction is kind of
to turn it off.
No, just that it's like you got to wait for the audience reaction. They're not as good. This is as the regular podcast.
I agree with you in one way, but this isn't for the.
This isn't for the podcast. It's for the fans.
People to come see us. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I'm down with that.
And we might have Jibs and Iggy and maybe all the people you hear their names about in person. Sparsa, you can finally see them. All right, that's going to do it for us. Don't forget to listen to the Buzz Adams Morning Show Monday through Friday, 6 to 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. El Paso's Best Rock.
Get 15% off a set of BrakeMess Select, Select Pro, or Import Direct brake pads and 2 rotors now at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.